See ya.
Hello.
One of the things we're gonna wanna get going would be our soil survey, geotech. That'll help us determine, what kind of foundations we're gonna need. And the survey.
Where the outhouse used to be.
We wanna find those things, yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be one thing, and I'm gonna call, Bill and see if he can get some of that going. We've got proposals that are gonna go out to geotech guys, we'll bring those back to you, let you look at them, we'll make a recommendation. It's usually based upon, the guy with the best price, because we know the guys and they're all qualified. So it's who's gonna be closest and that kind of thing. So that'll help us set that part, and then we'll get a test to see if geothermal's gonna work for the conductivity. You had a report from one.
The people that had the report took it with them, talked to them, the city about the geothermal, and they did it at the CRC, but they wouldn't do it again.
Really?
Well, there's no incentive from the local utility to do it.
Yeah.
And so you got 29 compressors running down there. And they just recommend it, they wouldn't do it again.
Well, I was
There's no
planning.
big city.
They switched this quite a bit of it back to gas.
All right, well, that's good to know.
I can still get that for you if you want it.
I would like to see it.
All right,
yeah.
I'll stop up and tell them we need a copy of it.
And I want
Or
to,
they'll let us know who we need to contact to get that, and they can release it. Because the city paid for it.
that was the city that said that they didn't have much luck with it, not the utility.
The utility company, the only way they would participate in the building of the CRC is that they would put the geothermal in. Well, they applied for the geothermal grant, they got one from the state somehow,
Right.
that almost paid for the geothermal. But now this utility company turns around and now they're on this demand charge, which
It's too
they're,
expensive
yeah,
to
they're
run
paying
it.
too much kilowatt hour to run it.
I guess, right?
So that's how that ended up.
Okay.
But, well, I'll still get you that. Gary Birds.
Well, I'm gonna see if I can stop in at Osage Municipality.
Yep, I would do that.
And talk to them this afternoon.
Dennis.
Okay.
Dennis Bannon.
What's his last name?
Bannon.
Fannin, Fannin, I think.
Yep.
Is he the head of it, or is he one of the engineers?
No, he's the
He's
head honcho.
Okay. At the very least, I just wanna,
Commander-in-chief.
at the very least, I just wanna let him see my face and
Yep.
shake his hand and let him know we're getting ready to go, and it's always a good thing. Everybody likes to be aware of what's going on.
You wanna talk?
Yeah, I didn't know about,
I can do that.
speaking of not being aware of anything, did you know there's a $4.5 million fertilizer plant going in Stacyville?
Congratulations, I guess.
I didn't know about it
Nobody
until
else knew
Saturday
about it.
night. That's a neat deal.
That seems to be a big thing, fertilizer anymore. They can never get a crop in.
They're beating feet now, aren't they?
It'll happen.
Well, I don't think so, they're
Next
pretty muddy
week.
around here yet.
Next week.
Yeah.
The forecast looks pretty good for next week.
I saw a lot of guys on the way up out in the fields.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, see, we had that, we had 13.5 inches of snow.
I know, I was expecting to still see some.
Well, you might, out behind the barn.
You made the news.
Oh, yeah, we had
We're lucky, we got,
busted some tree branches. It was heavy and wet, really nasty stuff. But we need the moisture, so,
Yeah, we can't argue that.
yeah, we were just getting ready to mow the lawn and then it snowed. We had to get the snow blower out, take the snow off the lawn so we could mow. Only in Iowa, you know?
I saw the river over by the school. That's pretty high.
it was on my back door that morning.
Still can't mow the road ditch.
So that's a lot of snow.
Yeah, for May, whatever.
Second, third, fourth.
May 2nd and 3rd.
That was Friday, Saturday.
This was Thursday, wasn't it?
Thursday,
Saturday?
Friday, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
next-
I mowed my grass on Sunday.
I was thinking about it.
You're West Des Moines,
Urban,
Urbana?
yeah. Close enough to West Des Moines.
Yeah, yeah,
He and I was down that territory yesterday.
Down to God's country?
Living
Those
History
railings?
Farms, Capital.
Those were the railings in the original courthouse,
Where'd you find those?
at the museum. And if you look at those railings, and then you look at the ones that are on that staircase, they're not the same,
So why'd they take those up?
because they remodeled upstairs.
Oh, I see.
And then they
like-
saved those, but these are a totally different spindle than what, and so those can't possibly be the original spindles down there.
No, that's true. Found them in a museum, huh?
Donna said the rhubarber's up about that far.
That's a good start. That's a good start.
We're waiting.
What were you doing in Urbandale?
Took 7th and 6th graders down there to Living History Farms, Capital yesterday.
Oh my gosh, you're probably tired then.
He just drove the bus. He didn't climb up to the peak of the Capitol. I'll bet money on it.
Got that right.
Have you ever been up there?
No.
You guys know who Van and Bonnie?
Yeah, I used to listen to WHO all the time.
When
I was on the mail route.
I used to be the public relations chairman for the American Institute of Architects for Iowa.
Oh, yeah?
I did that for about 8-9 years. And one of the things we tried to do was we started kind of the promotion of architects around the state. And so we put a thing in the paper and highlighted some nice buildings like the Capitol and the museum and stuff like that. And then we decided we should have an on-the-air personality do something. So we set up a deal with Van and Bonnie. We went to the top, up in the lantern of the Capitol, and we did a live broadcast up there.
Oh, wow.
We got up there about 4 o'clock in the morning, and at the time, I
Yeah,
was
they're the
working
early show.
very early.
Very early.
It's dark at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, it is.
But you get a great view of the city from up there.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, it does.
It happened.
It's been a long time since I've been up there, probably 20 years ago when the kids were in school.
You have to walk across the dome up on that staircase.
Oh, outside?
No, inside.
Inside?
Inside the dome.
I don't think I got that high up.
Well, at the very top where they have the beacon.
Oh, I don't think they'd let the public up there, did they?
They probably not, no. They had it shut down for a long time.
Yeah.
But
I didn't get up
the
that high.
company I was with at the time, we were renovating the Capitol. And it happened to be that particular week, they were putting the gold leaf on the dome.
Okay, that was after I'd been there.
So Van was up there and they had a porta potty that they lifted up by a crane for him. That was funny. And he'd have people honk as they were driving by if they could see him waving, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Got a lot of publicity.
Ah, that sounds like a good one.
But as they were doing the gold, these guys would rappel off the side. And, what's
Right.
it? Are we
I
on?
wondered if that camera was still
It's a good story anyway, it can go on Facebook.
in. Yeah.
So these guys were rappelling over the side, and of course they have to work the gold on the right, and then they work their way to the left so that they weren't walking on the new gold leaf. They kept the gold leaf in a box, because they're like really
Oh, sure.
mica thin sheets.
Probably less than a mil.
Oh, very, yeah,
Or
very
maybe
good.
they are about 1 mil.
And they had to overlap them like a 1/16 of an inch. They couldn't just butt them up, right?
Right.
So as they overlapped and they would burnish them on, little flecks would fly off the part that overlapped. And so his comment was, it looks like it's snowing. Okay?
Snowy gold.
It was snowing gold. And
Wow.
he said, but don't come over and collect any because it's not gonna stick, you know. But that was kind of neat. And they tried to get him to go down in one of the little baskets. It was basically a wooden chair on a rope is what it was.
Oh, man.
He wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Can't say I blame him.
Me either.
I was safe inside.
Yeah. How do you put that on a windy day?
Wasn't a windy day.
You couldn't.
Oh, because those sheets were only about
Yeah.
4 by 6, something like that.
And then to do that whole,
In
line.
little sheets, well, yeah, they couldn't take big sheets because of the
Yeah.
wrinkles, because of the dome
Sure.
curve.
Yeah.
And they had to go over all the little ribs and everything.
My goodness,
It
that
took
would
them a
take a while.
It did.
It's
But these,
amazing how that stuff lasts. Weathers.
yeah. It does wear off though.
No.
I think what, every,
30 years, they said they.
is that what it was, 30 years? Yeah.
What it cost to put the gold on that, this thing?
Well, it was a lot cheaper gold prices back then,
90s, wasn't it?
something like that.
Yeah. I couldn't remember when that was all going on.
$407,000 is what they said yesterday.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
How
So
much?
you-
The last time, yeah.
You got the whole nickel tour on
Oh,
it.
yeah, I got the whole nickel too, right? Parked my bus and went inside.
Well, you know, the Capitol's only about 3 blocks from us. You should have stopped in the office.
Never thought of that.
Next time you're in town, come on down. Yeah, Living History Farms is about a half a mile from my house.
Haven't been there for a while, I should go back again.
The machine shed's still running,
Oh, yeah. Good breakfast.
kind of a
Good breakfast.
good eatery, haven't been there in years, but.
They've got one of those Hardy Man breakfasts.
Oh, yeah?
Basically, they go out and get a couple cows and a pig and put it on a plate. And, so,
Couple
my-
thousand eggs.
couple of chickens, and
Yeah.
my father-in-law decided he wanted to take the family out there on a Sunday. It wasn't Mother's Day or anything, it's just we wanted to get together. So we went out there. Of course, Sundays were always busy, right? And my son had just started playing football. And so he was a big eater,
Mhm.
right? So Grandpa says, well, you guys should probably get something, make sure you get full. Well, when they serve cimarrones like that, you're gonna get full.
Yeah.
So I got the Hardy Man breakfast, and so did my son. He's gonna try and keep up with me. So my plate was clean, and I had dessert. He didn't quite get there.
Oh, my.
But Grandpa just looked at us and he goes, man, you guys can eat.
That's a good place to get served, you know, filled up. 'Cause they got-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they give you a large portion.
Yeah, you can't go away hungry from there.
They do it your own fault.
Mhm. Well, Ray should be joining us too.
Ray coming down today?
That's what Kevin said.
From Minneapolis area?
Mm-hmm.
He's out, where is he, out in Prior Lake, or where does he live up there?
Eden Prairie, I think?
Is he at Eden Prairie?
I don't remember exactly. I thought it was the western side of Minneapolis. I have him come this way. I don't usually go up that way.
Yeah.
And I think he's tweaked it a few times on the courts. He had another chat with,
Scott,
no, the other judge that was here.
Ryan.
Brian Kinley.
Yes. He had another chat with him after our last meeting and moved the clerk's office a little bit in the corner, verified some of the shelving needs. And so that's probably what you saw in the last set of plans. Yeah, so like I said, the next thing we're gonna look at is we'll get a proposal in from these guys to do the soils tests.
that's where they come in board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and then we'll also get McCarthy going on the site survey, so we'll start figuring out exactly where all the utilities are, and what we have to work around, you know, and that'll help us set the courthouse from where the jail sits. You know, right now, we're just going off of site plans.
Yep.
They'll get some exact numbers on all that. We'll start working through where all the setbacks are and start putting it all on paper for you, so you know exactly where the parking lot's gonna be, and start kind of narrowing all that down as we go through the schematic phase. And that dovetails, of course, with where we set the footprint as far as off the grade. So that we'll be able to get a good idea of what we're looking at for sidewalks and getting up to the front door and all that. You guys got any questions that popped up over the last couple weeks?
I just had the auditor said they're facing the wrong direction in their plan.
Oh, is there desk?
They need to be facing the counter. Let's see where.
Oh, yeah, these guys right here.
Auditor, yeah, see, they're facing them this way. This is the counter, so once people come in, they don't. And I thought this vault seemed quite large.
Well, we laid it out with the shelving that we measured up the very first go around. And I put in, I did the same thing on that furniture plan that we had last time. I laid it out for the plat maps, the big books. And we can always tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, I thought, to get these turned around, maybe you need to bring that in a little bit.
Yeah, we could do
Give them
that.
a little width. I don't know.
Well, we could always put the chair right here.
Yeah, but then this one's looking at this one, and this one's looking at this one.
Mhm. Oh,
But
you're
anyway, they
thinking-
need to be facing us to see who the customers when they come in.
Right, and they also need to be able to access all the things that are gonna be on the counter.
Yeah. Maybe this wall could come down a little further or not.
Yeah, sure, we could.
I don't know. I just-
Right now,
Say.
we've got the access coming back from what Dave would need to get back in. And that gives us,
Well, these hallways about 5, 6 feet.
So you can't scale this.
no, it's
No,
about,
this isn't to scale, I know, but.
it's about 9 feet, because our stair is 4 foot on
Oh,
each one.
sure, okay, yeah.
We have to have room in there, like he'll keep his lawnmower there, and he'll keep the, well,
Really?
he's not gonna keep it in the basement. Unless you
I don't
guys
think you
don't,
should keep it in the building at all.
well then,
The lawnmower will be over at the
Side
law
door.
enforcement.
oh, there you go, okay.
That's where it is now.
Yeah.
He doesn't keep anything in it. That, he had to use that all for, incoming stuff.
Deliveries.
Deliveries. You know.
We have room along this side for all of
Pop
that.
and water and paper and.
Yep,
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
we'll have a couple of recycling bins back there.
Loading, whatever.
No, we got so much room in that Sally Port, I mean, that whole south whatever could just as well be Dave's as opposed to,
Good.
I mean, we don't need room for 4 sheriff cars in there at one time.
They don't have parking in there.
But I mean,
Yeah, right.
for secure whatever, I mean, it's not necessary.
Yeah, you don't need them parked in there, you need them out on the streets, right?
Well, they take
Well,
over
like I say,
anyway.
Oh,
you don't need to be dumping off prisoners 4 of them at a time, I mean, 4 carloads at a time, I mean, once you're out in the street, take your turn.
that's
Line up.
I know.
That's nice.
I mean, we never had that issue, so-
Repairs right there.
Yeah.
Probably sure have a lot of bathrooms, don't
Well, that one toilet is for veterans, specifically for the guys in the scooters and things.
they? Well, this here, I understand.
Morning.
How you doing?
Scott?
Oh, morning, Scott.
Sure is a little tied up today. Not in a great hurry.
No, I'm not sure. You're looking at the upstairs. These aren't to scale or anything.
Sure.
Kevin's looking at the old ones.
What is these 2 lines, is that projection?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I kind of thought, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it'll be up above and then project on across
Across
the
on the ceiling.
Typically,
Come on, that back part might work up here.
well, typically you want to be within 12 to 13 feet of the screen for the best viewing range. And so we typically will recess it in the ceiling where it drops down, so it's out of the way when you don't need it. Or if you don't want to go to the electric, we'll just have it on a pole from above and it hangs down so that it's at the right elevation to project onto the screen. It's always nice to get it out of the way so it's not a distraction.
These, I take it, are wheelchairs?
Mhm. Yeah, that did change a little bit. I didn't see that version since a couple days ago.
Good.
You've been keeping pretty busy, Scott?
Oh, yeah. Plenty going on.
In your business, that's probably bad.
Or some laboratory trials lately.
Right,
I heard there's still some discussion about Polk County Courthouse getting some renovations.
They try every year and they don't seem to get any traction.
Well, I was talking to the guys at the city about a week and a half ago, and that parking ramp that's catty corner over on Fifth, they were talking about that might come down to make room for a version of parking in retail, so that they can have parking dedicated to the courthouse and at that building that's just north, it used to be the old J.C. Penney's. About that might be renovated.
Yeah, I think that's happening.
That is happening.
Yeah, I think the county now owns that.
That was out part of that swap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I wasn't sure if things were moving or not, but we heard rumors.
Yeah, well, I think the J.C. Penney building, there'll be some courts involved in that remodel there.
There's a lot of square foot in there.
They're in a number of locations now, they kind of spread all over. It's not a county I want to have under my umbrella.
They're kind of busy, aren't they?
Oh, it's crazy. Polk County alone has about the same number of filings as my entire district.
Is that right?
22 counties.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Did you ever deal with the courtroom out at the jail?
Mhm.
That was one of my projects, the
Oh, yeah.
Polk County Jail. That was fun watching that one get built.
All right.
It was long enough in both directions, a little over 900 feet each direction. So if you stand at one, you can almost see the curvature of the earth. Okay, maybe not quite.
And it's all weather pattern too, right?
It did.
Clouds in the lobby.
But we put the courtroom in. Actually, it was funny because we had 2 courtrooms in. And they went back to the judges and said, you know, that comes out of your budget. And that was in the design phases, and they went, well, we're not paying for it. Take it out. We don't want to pay for it. We went, okay, we took it out, because the county said take it out. And right before we got done, they said, well, where's our courtroom? I said, you don't get one. Well, we gotta have one. It's like, well, we'll put one back in if the county says okay. Well, they said okay, but you gotta pony up. So somehow they made an agreement there.
Well, it's probably for the convenience of the sheriffs, and then haul everybody over to the courthouse.
Oh, absolutely. It was right off of booking. And it was a separate area secured for the judges. They had their own back door and the whole bit and their own offices. And it was so busy. They just kept it moving.
Oh,
That the judge, she didn't want to leave. She was supposed to be there a year. She ended up being there, I think, 3 years in a row. She didn't want to go back. She said, I like it here. I'm gonna take this one.
Yeah.
Take this rotation.
It was.
You ever been in the courthouse up in Olmsted County in Rochester?
No.
They're talking that's not big enough.
Oh, no.
Oh, really? That don't.
Yeah, nice.
That's fairly new, isn't it?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
all that old, but
Yeah.
the population's growing so up in Olmsted County that
Wow.
they were, I don't know if I kept it or not, but it was in our daughter lives up there and I got the newspaper. I don't know if I kept it or not. They were talking about expansion. Beautiful
Our
facility.
filings have kind of leveled off in the last several years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ebb and flow. You like it better that way?
No, I was looking here and I was
I
thinking,
just turned it to the
I was
west.
looking at this and I was looking at this stairway and I was thinking, how's that gonna work with this stairway here?
Yeah, you got that one turned around.
Yeah, we try and line things up.
I was looking at it the wrong way all morning, so I thought, well, I tried to orient it with my
Get halfway and
my
jump
brain
over.
cells here. If this is west.
Yeah. So this would be going this way.
There you go.
So let's assume that we accepted everything and it got passed and so on. How long, how many months do you estimate?
Well, for what we talked about last time with the schedule, the end of June is we'd have all the basic systems defined, mechanical, electrical, structural. You'll have floor plans with dimensions, and you'll see elevations. And then we wouldn't do door schedules and things like that in the details, but we'd say, okay, here's what we talked about, here's how everything's working now, here's your budget for it. Now, if you want to proceed and we start developing all the details, well, we start picking the projection screens and, you know, all the finer points, picking out the carpets and the tiles and all that. And at the end of schematics, if you said go, from that point, then we just go into the next part. And then a couple months later, we would be ready to produce all the documents for the contractors to start bidding on this. And Kevin's got that schedule, I'm sorry, I didn't bring a copy, that's a quote from, but
So in other words, about 2 years from the time?
to actually move in, you're probably looking at 12 to 14 months to go, maybe 12 months to go. So We don't wanna go out to the contractors in October and expect them to try and put footings in December.
Hey, Kevin.
Getting this email from Alex about the,
Yeah. Septagon, is that right?
Hinkle.
Oh, Hannah can be seen for the water or something. I've got a few things, I've got sprayers, I've got a few things. I told him we weren't doing that.
he emailed me, and I'm just gonna say no, thanks.
Yeah, he'll keep trying until, if he gets an opening, he'll just keep
Here,
going.
thanks for your concern, but we're on top of it, we got a good firm.
There you go, thanks. Morning, Kevin.
Kevin?
We were just kinda doing some administrative stuff. We'll go ahead and get the RFPs out for the guys on the soil test. We'll get the survey going. And I'm gonna go talk to the municipality about geothermal and just basically let them know what we're thinking, get their feedback.
I'll get you the name of that firm, that we can get
The other test.
the test.
Is
Okay.
that that guy from Cresco that came over that time, or is this something different? You know, when they did the county services building and the
No,
courthouse?
this would be something different. I think
Okay.
this firm that did that conductivity test was
Mhm.
all there, or something.
Okay.
Okay.
Have they started on the asbestos yet? Or is
No,
it
that's
July?
not until July.
There's Rick. Morning, Rick.
Good morning.
Morning, Ray.
Come on in and look out.
Okay.
Pull the chair from the end there.
Don't wanna,
Pull up the
wanna
chair.
block the camera though.
Sorry.
Oh,
There we go.
it's not on.
Oh, it's not.
Is it on?
Yep, somebody must turn it on.
Oh, she left it on.
Oh,
Well, let's turn it the other direction. This is all priority information here.
Okay, well, where should we start?
At the beginning.
Yeah, he's got the plans.
Who's got
Plans
what?
on the table.
Well, those were just,
Everybody's got them.
oh, print them off.
These are different than what you're bringing?
oh yeah, there was a couple of corrections, but you'll never find them.
Okay.
That little.
Probably want to start with the courts first, won't we?
Yeah, go ahead.
Start with courts.
Yep.
These are scaled 1/8.
Yep.
1 inch equals 8 feet?
Yep. There's, you know.
Skills very
Yeah.
Have to keep
good.
him on.
Violate any rules.
He's a good 5 months. Keep him on.
Way under.
Very good.
Way under.
What, I don't get one? Oh, okay.
$2.99 for the county.
These are
Courts
like
get more.
25 cents. They're free, Edwards Cast Stone.
They were donated to a class, an artistic class that teaches the fourth and
Order
fifth
gate, here it
graders.
is.
So,
Thank you.
Okay, well, where do you wanna start on the courts level? You wanna start with the clerk?
yeah.
Since you're right here. What we did is we laid out, we took the, you know, the dimensions of your furniture, and so that's exactly what you've got. And then after meeting with you, you wanted to separate them and create one large space here. And so, basically, that's what we laid out. You get your 3 stations, you have, you know, the opportunity of putting, files here. This becomes your exhibit storage, it's gonna be block, it's fireproof. This is a shared toilet. And then your records, and you're getting 77, 7 high here. Plus, you're getting another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here.
Just like these.
Just like, no, these are movable.
Okay.
But these will just be your stacks that you move.
Fixed storage.
Yeah. And then because we did this, and you separated the workstations, at one point we talked about putting 4 in there and having one be your work. We decided we wanted to talk to you about this, but this is an opportunity to make this your work counter. copy machine, it's close to records, it's close to the counter, it makes a lot of sense.
It does make more sense, because
Yep.
back there,
Yep.
you have to make a copy, it's just,
Yep.
it makes more sense to have it up here.
So I think that's a pretty nice layout. This, you know, I'm not sure if this is absolutely necessary with the volume that you got and the close proximity, but we do have this here. If this was not absolutely necessary, we could add another bench.
We have two challenges with the plan right now. One is, this doesn't meet code. This door knob to that wall, so we gotta figure this out. We
Yeah.
have to keep working on that. And we got plumbing on the outside wall. Ray and I talked about maybe moving this door to here. Don't know if that works for you, but that would allow us to make this restroom bigger.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering if we could feed from the sidewalls and go with this, instead of a flush, just go with a residential type. It's quieter, you won't hear it all day long. That's what we should do back here in the jury for sure. We always do just a standard.
They
And
have,
then
they
you
have a
could
new,
feed-
I'm sorry, they have a new economy type of, they call it super flush. It does a 1.6 gallon type, so it's with minimal water, and they're pretty quiet. So we'll look at those.
It's still
They're a tank type is what you're.
Yeah.
But they're commercial grade.
Okay, that's fine.
Most of those are just, sound like a jet plane taking off.
I know.
Some of them have been in a motel lately.
But we need to do that at least
That's not a problem.
here and here.
We'll be talking to our mechanical guys about that, because it helps with the energy savings.
Sounds good, too.
So we've got a couple little things to work on.
Yeah,
The question
this
I
was
had
problematic.
Is it okay if this door is here, kind of inside this workstation?
I don't see a
Maybe,
problem.
maybe get some space, but
Yeah, that would be ideal if we can do that. It really doesn't change this,
Well,
but what it does is it gives you a nice restroom.
but then you're gonna have the door of the restroom right off your space, and I don't think that's,
Not necessarily. What's
this
this?
is a coat closet.
Do we need a coat closet? We can figure out a way to put one in, but the door, we can figure out a way to make this work, and make this thing bigger somehow. Basically, take all this so we can point pictures on the wall.
So you're not gonna have a problem walking back in here to get, I think that door would probably swing out. That room's only, that aisle was only 3 feet. Actually,
It doesn't take any more room if you swing it right where it's at, than where that's at. You still get.
use it for exhibits, you're not gonna be in there daily anyway.
No.
We'll work on that.
yeah,
The other thing we have to work on is make sure we figure this out.
I do like this.
What's the problem with the door knob?
well, you gotta,
The dimension.
You have
from
to
the
have
doorknob
for-
to the wall,
for handicap,
Iowa code requires 24 inches.
that's ADA.
ADA
Oh, no.
requires 18, Iowa requires 24.
What, really?
Right?
Yeah, Iowa's more strict than ADA, so it's too tight. It's this dimension from here to there. So you slide this back, then we create a conflict.
Well, the one thing that
But I was hoping it was
the one
gonna
thing
move the
that,
door to here.
well, the one thing that I was thinking is you go with a smaller jam and you could save 4 inches there.
Well,
By pulling it back, this wall's.
What I would like to know is why can't the door?
Because you're walking into the well, unless you're gonna allow people to walk in, exit from the well.
I think that's okay, because they're gonna be in here anyway.
Yeah,
I think it's almost better
Oh, then
personally.
let's do that.
let's do that.
Then we can
Then
slide
we
this
can
over.
Pull that door all the way to the wall.
So you don't mind that?
I think that's okay. I get you.
Good.
So actually.
Get another bench in there.
So you get, so people are sitting here with their.
So we can
Right,
eliminate this.
right.
Then they just
That's the
walk
person
out.
who's gonna be leaving, the one that's at the
Well,
council
that's-
table.
that, I like that better then, because then you can pick up another seat.
Because the manager will call him forward as he's dealing with them, and if they don't, then be leaving.
Oh, perfect. That's good.
Okay.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, okay.
Either fine, right beside
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And they don't walk off.
Before they leave.
You guys
That's
can
the
stand there
plan.
with the little Apple thing and just slide their credit card in.
At one point, we were talking.
Sometimes they lock this
Somebody.
way. Works for me.
Now, the one thing, the only thing that, this is, I think that this works out really well for you. The one thing that I just want to bring to your attention, you've got 11 feet here, and you wanted 12 to 15. I still think that's adequate.
The counter.
Yeah. And then you get your 2 computer stations here, and then you can have, you're gonna lose some seating, but I think if you had just 2 seats plus 2 seats, I think, is that adequate? And there probably will be more seating here and here too, so.
Okay.
And this counter will have a door that goes up and down, right?
Do you want it to?
In a window.
A door that goes up and down.
No, you know, like
A rolling shutter.
rolling.
Why is there a need for that?
There'll be times when we have to close.
But this door's gonna be locked, that door will be closed, and this door
I guess
will
we
be closed
close.
now. One thing is this
I mean,
is
if I
still
get
gonna
public
be
access,
emergency.
so we'd like to give them public access even if
Oh, to the
something's
computer.
closed, you know,
Huh.
if possible.
So why are
Well,
they in there?
If you have public access, do you need a door then? By the stairway? If we put a secured shutter over the counter, do you need a door going into the waiting?
Probably not. So then this becomes your door right here, and then you get the shutter. Is that right?
Don't you think, Young?
I do.
And so this door is basically
Because there'll be times when, you know, a number of times we'll have one employee here, and they have to take their noon hour by our contract. So they're gonna pull this gate down, but we're still like, people have public
You want a
access.
solid one?
Especially when we go to electronic filing, they're really gonna need public
Solid.
access.
Well,
That's
sure.
like-
Or it could be an open wire.
If you don't know where, that's what I'm asking, do you want solid?
I want solid.
Is that the best place for the computers, or should we move them onto the solid wall? Instead of right in the center windows.
Well, I was looking at that, but it's kind of goofy with it. Unless you just wanted to put a table in here,
We
That's
just-
probably what we'll put.
just a table. Well, then we just,
We can move it.
that's gonna be furnished here, okay.
Don't need to have power and data there.
Yeah.
And then some chairs.
Yeah.
And with this now being a hallway, we can put chairs all in here if we wanted to.
Next to your office. Well, this is,
Yep.
that's where they go to vote.
Okay.
Is that
Or
too-
an extra room.
Or an extra room. Is it too far removed?
But I still need some sort of drop box too,
So you don't think,
if we so close to 2:30.
I drew this up, but
I
I
mean,
thought
if
that
you
was
don't
gonna be a
even
problem,
wall,
interfering with
It
that
could just be an
person.
open area back
I
there.
don't think so.
You need a drop
It wouldn't
box.
have to be.
Because
So it doesn't have
right now
to be
Tuesdays and
secure,
Thursdays
it
are
will
close
just
to
be
2:30.
enough.
And so if somebody wants to be a fine or child support. or-
Well, you could have a drop box that
And
would go to the other side of the counter.
Yeah, that'd be easy.
Or even through the door.
Yeah.
They should be marking a line up.
Yeah,
We'll
we
probably
try not
change
to
this from
eliminate
here.
too much in your storage unless you want to give someone.
Okay.
That's not the scale.
Okay.
The door is 3 feet, so it's about 4 or 5 feet.
Okay.
What,
It's all three old doors.
what do you have, what are you gonna have here besides a copy machine?
Handicap,
Yeah, those.
Well, we've got, right now we've got what's called an MAU, and that's probably what we'll say here. I'd like to,
40.
file,
It
just like
might
a
be
fax
ten said
machine.
done Because when you
this,
go
they
42,
actually,
you
the
have to have an
MAU
extra
does
hinge.
faxing, scanning.
Is that like copy?
Multi-function, yeah, but,
Put a piece of furniture.
And it probably
I
needs
just-
data and everything.
It
So
does.
this could just be a work counter with cabinets below for storage of furniture.
It's not.
This or file cabinets.
Right.
Yes.
That should be.
counter on top
So
of it.
these are counter high
Yes.
file cabinets.
No, these would be a countertop over file cabinets, similar to what they have. In fact, there could be file cabinets underneath here too.
I would like file cabinets.
With more
Okay, so there'd be
Fax,
files
yeah.
Exactly.
there and there.
How about your receipt printer? Like go on the
We'll
counter.
look at that one.
That would probably go on the counter.
No, we can't do that because then they don't have the full windows.
We probably would, we're gonna have to have a scanner.
Just kind of walk.
Yeah, you want to put, I mean, your workstation's gonna be.
So it'd be a scanner right here.
Come in, is this employee only
I have a receipt printer.
type of door?
We have a report printer that is used in a few.
What are you putting down there,
Oh,
right?
just,
Scanner.
There's a
right now,
receipt
we do
printer
have a
right
receipt
here,
I think in the end, they'll probably take it. to-
and there's gonna be a scanner over here, and this is their copy machine. And then there's gonna be files below these work counters, similar to what they have.
Okay.
And they're probably the same, you're just gonna reuse them. And they were like 3 high. We could repaint them too.
You have upper cabinets or open shelves or?
We don't have any open, well, we've got open shelving here, we don't have anything in the,
Well, as far as above the counter, do you want anything?
There could be shelf unit here where you can get access to, store paper.
that would be good.
And basically, this is gonna be a wall now with a drop down. And this is open, that works pretty well. And then we're gonna end up with the door that comes out of the courtroom right here. This one's down.
Then we get another.
Then we get the new bench.
That'd be good.
I like that.
Yeah. something like that. I didn't
For
realize
some
it
reason,
like
in
that.
the original program, I had exiting from the public seating area, but I didn't realize you could do that. Okay. And then back here, we can probably make this room bigger now. And then put a door that would enter right there. Are you gonna need the 2-foot clear here? Probably. It's gonna have to be ADA accessible.
No, that's not.
Not for public.
Okay.
That public door has.
Anyway, they can swing out or.
Does this look okay for the restroom? Look at the restroom.
I don't like that at all. Because you're
Plumbing
gonna get
fixtures.
people walk, it's no different than in a jury room where you have a bathroom right off of the jury room. You're gonna have this bathroom right off of your staff. You're gonna have people, you're gonna have staff from down here walking down, coming in. I would keep that door hidden if we can do it. It'd be much better.
Well, we're gonna have to work on it, because it doesn't work the way it is now. We definitely don't wanna put plumbing fixtures on the office wall either, that's, we'll figure it out.
Another thing we could do is, since this window was eliminated, that window that used to be there, do you know why it was eliminated?
Because the storage room.
Oh, because of this room? Oh, that's a shame. Well, I'll work on that. Yeah, see, it was like this. But since it was eliminated, then you could start picking up a little more space there too, if you had that. Now, if we go with a low profile, so, if we go with a regular toilet, you can feed from the sidewall. So you don't have any water or any waste or anything. So you could feed this way, and you could feed this way. And then you wouldn't be on an outside wall.
And you're trying to keep it off that office wall too. You know how that is. And then your walls, you hear the plumbing on it.
We can work that one out. We've done a lot of toilets.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll make sure you don't hear the noise.
What about the courtrooms?
What's that phones for?
Okay, do we have,
Mic noise, yeah.
is anybody else here? Just Okay, let's do the magistrate first. So basically, we're coming up here 6 inches. Or you can walk up here. Okay, and here, we have a step, and a future lift.
Can you come back?
And if needed. And actually, the floor is gonna be raised 6 inches here because this is a ramp coming out. So we're going from +0, +6. So you have the 6 inches to drop in the lift anyplace if you want. So at this time, maybe we'll just put in 2 steps with a handrail right there. Okay, so then you get judges access. Staff would come in here. And this is gonna become an exit door, so there's gonna be an exit sign over it. So everybody's gonna exit like that. And we need to really check the code to make sure it's not of it.
Question for you, Ray, on the door behind the judge.
That is not an exit.
No, I understand that completely, but do we need a door if he's got a private little corridor right behind There's really no reason to make that a door, it can be an opening, right?
Well,
It can look kind of bad.
it would look
Big
bad.
opening there.
You could look at this
Bench.
door, but I prefer to keep it open.
Could do a pocket door.
Pocket door here?
Mhm.
Why?
If all you wanna do is close it off.
Why is a pocket door better than just a swing door?
Well, when the door's open, you see the door.
Oh, the door's gonna be shut all the time.
Yeah.
They will be shut all the time for acoustics and also, yeah. But, I mean, this is
Visually,
pretty
just
stan-
having
pretty
an
standard.
opening there with
Pretty
kind of
standard.
bench looking at it.
Okay.
So we got the sound block, we're gonna get seating for, right now, you probably get 8, let's say that that's 9, probably get 9, so you got 6, you got seating for 24.
Twice as many as you need.
And then this is for returns.
Front of the bar.
And I think this works pretty well. Now, there's not a need for a lectern in here, right? I mean, I could show it, and
Not a permanent one.
well, but if there ever is gonna be one, then we need to get the cable in and everything.
Well, we're gonna want, yeah,
So, should we add?
we're gonna want the same capabilities to be able to, I mean, because this could be used for a non-jury trial.
But, do you want evidence presentation in that courtroom too?
Probably not to the extent that we have it in this one.
Then do you need a evidence presentation card? With an Elmo?
Is that something that's in there permanently?
Well, let's go back, let's talk about this one. Once again, you get your jury, this is up 6, this is up 12. Okay, 21 again, you come up, the judge will come in and walk up steps. This is gonna be the accessible courtroom. You only have to have one. I mean, you don't have to have either one, but they have to be adaptable. And at most facilities, if you can get one per floor, that's all that they really are doing.
So this is a single step right
So
here.
this is a double
2
step.
risers. You already got one because there's a ramp in the
Sure.
hallway.
So you got 2. Okay, so basically then, you're getting seating for 48 plus 2. And your attorney tables could be a little bit bigger, so you can get 3 of each. Then here we're getting a lectern, and because of ADA, it's gonna have to be motorized, so it'll be a button there. It'll rise and lower. And then a presentation card, and this could be loose, so it could be moved from courtroom to courtroom.
Sure.
But you need to be able to tie into the floor or tie into the base of the lectern with all the
Have the
cable.
video and the audio and everything.
Yeah, and so you're gonna have probably a DVD player in here, and then your Elmo. And
Is that gonna
And I
hit the
doubt this-
screen, right?
what, excuse me?
Is that gonna hit the screen, right, or does it need to be more in line with the?
No, this is Elmo. An Elmo, so that if they have a document.
So it'll go to the projector.
That would go to the projector, yeah. And then, I don't know if you're gonna want this, but sometimes we'll put a touch screen here so that you can annotate
That's more of a,
Right on the screen.
right on the screen.
Right.
So if you got an accident scene, you can circle this or circle that.
right. That's more a county bar question.
Or that,
Ours,
or that could happen back here.
We're just talking equipment.
Right.
At this point, we're not into that yet. so.
Right.
Okay, well, in any case, that's
Could be added.
what's gonna be on here. And that could be wheeled from,
Right.
let's assume we're gonna have 2 lecterns and one presentation card. And that presentation card, if needed, could be moved over here. So does this work then for another lectern location?
That location?
Well, we try
I mean, it seems to work.
I'd want some judge input on that.
Are we saying there's a projector in this room as well?
No, that's what I'm trying to get to. I'm gonna go through what we got in here.
Podium.
What's gonna happen in here?
I think we would, I don't know, that messes things up. Will these council tables be mic'd as well? This smaller courtroom be mic'd?
Yes,
Otherwise,
Now, you know, another option is to move the two tables here, but if you're having it's more intimate if you have that. I've done this before with a lectern at this point, because it's fairly convenient, and it's right on access to the bridge.
so these lectures would be permanent? I mean, they're gonna
No, they're
be
movable,
removable.
but
Power connections.
the power
Yeah.
connection,
Message
we need to
call
get a
them
box
and Get that conductivity
that,
test.
that we can
Perfect.
set the lectern over.
Immediately and stuff.
Open up the side of the lectern, plug everything in, shut it. You're not gonna see,
Can't buy service.
when we're done here, you're not gonna see any cables anyplace. Everything's gonna get-
City,
Why don't you decide that works for next year?
Yeah.
or the city energy.
Yeah, that works.
Whatever happens to be today.
Well,
And sometimes they do.
even if you wanna
If they're
move
gonna jury, They
furniture,
may move these to be able to see.
One thing I've done
I mean, that's
is
when that's when they move them.
I put 4 boxes at that location, so if they decide if they wanna move the tables over,
He should come to you anyway.
Right.
for some
He'll
reason,
be down.
it's possible to shift them this
Pick a
way.
jury, they may.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah. We'll
You could
definitely
do
want
the
to talk to
same
them.
thing here.
Well, you can do it there. I can
Or you could do the same thing with this.
Yeah.
Wow, it's bad, leave a message on it.
Yeah.
We'll be here for a while.
Around,
They could move,
yeah.
well, I mean, we'll get, that's, but I'm glad we're talking about it.
Now, we're a couple months away from those.
But you can, but you can be thinking about that stuff.
Couple months, yeah.
Okay, so basically, you're gonna have all the equipment here, so the attorney
It's
can,
like, well, if I'm gonna get 6, I might as well get 12.
okay, you're probably gonna get one monitor and mic
That's right.
here, and typically, we'll put a cable cubby on top, so that if the attorney brings in a laptop, he just reaches into a box, pulls the cable out and plugs it in. Cables are right there, they just,
Power will be right on top of it.
power will be right there, everything.
Well, we're gonna want to avoid poking too many holes through the floor, because
No.
it's a fire-rated assembly.
No, it's one box in the floor, and then all these cables come down and connect into one
I
box.
understand, but those boxes are extremely expensive, so we'll look at other options too. We might be able to come from the wall, or,
No, you won't, you'll never be able to come from a wall on this. There's gonna be, all the courtrooms I've done, there's somebody, you have to have a floor box here, here, and here. Everything else can come from the millwork.
Yeah.
But these boxes are probably about this big, and it gets your AV, your power, your data, everything is in it. And basically, then you get a cable cubby on top, where the cords pull in, plug in. So all the attorney has to do, you never have to open up anything. He just pulls the cable out, plugs it in.
Is there anything else we've changed, Ray, since we saw it last time? Because I think we talked about the 3
Yeah.
sizes.
Well, I
which is all.
want to finish this up. So then we're gonna probably have a projector here that's gonna project to a screen, and that screen can drop and lower. So that becomes evidence presentation for the jury. And then we'll have a monitor at the witness and a monitor at the judge for evidence. And there could be monitors back here, we'll talk about that later. Is there any Iowa standard? No, okay. So any questions about the courtroom? That's about it then.
will you have a button for the judges over to the jail?
Preferably.
There's gonna be dress buttons here, there's gonna be the benches and then the chambers.
And the clerk's office.
Yep.
You usually have security when court's going on.
What?
They're not always, usually have officers.
Yeah, but it's good to notify.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So there would always be a dress button here. And then there's gonna be lighting controls and everything from the clerk. And we'll get into all this detail later. The one thing that I was showing here, because a lot of courts want this, is a whiteboard, so you can get up with a marker and if there's.
That's what this is too?
Yep, so that.
With doors in front of it?
Yep, so the witness can draw something and,
It's behind the witness.
yeah.
It's inside a cabinet.
That was one of them.
That is actually a good idea.
Yeah.
You do see that a lot.
But if you don't need it, we can eliminate it, but that's better than pulling on a whiteboard or storing one.
Yeah, those are.
Okay, so that really takes care of, anything else we want
I'll
to
take
talk
it.
about in the courtroom right now?
The only thing is, can we still put like chairs up here
Oh,
for
yeah.
selecting?
Oh, yeah.
Ones like that one.
Maybe that's our
Sometimes
compromise,
we'll
we
even-
get a blackboard
on
from
federal
the old
projects,
Washington School.
We'll use a courtroom like this for a grand
That's our
jury.
historic.
We'll set it up so that there's 3 chairs.
Most of that.
So, yeah, you can do that.
So this area in here, can we store chairs in there, or is that
No,
something?
but this is an AV closet, which is gonna be really large, because all you're gonna have is probably one or 2 racks. So you can store these lecterns in there, you can store chairs, whatever. This is gonna be the, and this is gonna be detailed as just as concrete block painted back here. And defendants would come in from this side, attorneys could come in here and have interviews through a wire mesh. And you gotta decide if you wanna pass the pencils and papers back and forth. Because a lot of times they won't allow that.
Why wouldn't it just be glass?
Could be glass, then you get microphones on both sides and sound system. But the wire mesh is pretty standard.
Well, the ones we did at Polk County Jail, we used the glass, so makes it visible with the cameras.
That's a decision you need to make.
Yeah.
You can go and look.
I'm just trying to think ahead of electronic filing. You know, you need the defendant to sign off on something electronically, you know, when you do that, that environment. Because they're looking at some signature pads.
Would that be in the courtroom, or it would be back there?
Well, we're just starting to explore that now, and actually in Polk County, because that's a requirement that they needed, was to be able to get the defendant's signature in the courtroom. And so they're looking at signature pads.
Is that a wireless?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be surprised as well, so they're looking at computers in the courtroom themselves, so.
Could there be a monitor here that's touch sensitive, or could you just sign it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's a small kiosk off to one side of the courtroom, up against the wall, that they just walk over to.
You know, I don't know how, you know, I don't think right now, we don't have this going on anywhere where it's that secure between the defendant and the attorney.
But
Do you need doors on it, since they're already in the secured area back there?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
this is not gonna be called a holding, but it is a holding. If the sheriff wants to hold somebody here for a half hour or 10 minutes, they could put them in that interview room. and just
During
shut it
recess
off.
or something, you know, short.
Actually find more in this courtroom because they'll bring prisoners over
Well,
in the morning.
what's gonna happen is, you may find that you take somebody in custody. That they come in to pay and you find out that there's a warrant out.
Yep.
He goes back here and he sits here until the sheriff comes over.
Yeah, right now they separate.
What if we had, what if we had right there on the wall behind the lectern, a small shelf with a monitor on the wall, that's where they go sign?
They could, actually, the truth is, if there's annotated screens anyplace, they could do it right at their attorney's table.
Mhm. So it looks like we have flexibility.
Yeah, I'll get some more information on that.
So I think this works out real well, so you can have attorneys come in this way or this way. They have access for AV both ways, that one room's gonna handle both courtrooms. This becomes the exit, and I think this worked nice. The judge wanted to have a buzz-through door right here. So this door we added, and it's a buzz-through, so that if somebody comes, either the clerk or the judge can buzz them in after hours. But it also is nice because if there's fire, if the alarm goes off and there has to be an exit, they can exit to the courtroom without going back into restricted court, or they can exit right to the stair. The problem is the judge is gonna have to wait until everybody else leaves. He's gonna be mingling with everybody if that's the case.
An emergency.
Unless we one thing we could do is put we can talk about this later, but you can go with you know, a push bar that allows it to go after 15 seconds or something, or 20 seconds, if you wanted to. I mean, these are things we'll talk about later. But right now, the jury comes out, comes into the sound block. There's 2 bathrooms and a nice big, with a coffee bar, okay? And probably an under-counter refrigerator. There is the opportunity here, if we wanted to, and I don't know if it's necessary, but you could have another door here where the jury would look directly into that sound lock and not have to go out there. That's just another door out of the courtroom.
I don't know.
You don't think that's
I
necessary?
don't think so,
Okay.
yeah. That'd just be more
I
costly.
just wanted to throw that
Yeah,
out.
maybe nice, but the door's fine.
Okay, so I think this is really nice, and that room's a little bit bigger than was programmed. What was it, three something? It doesn't matter. It could be made a little bit smaller.
They always end up being tighter than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah. exactly.
One question right there on that door, right in front of the toilets.
This one, yeah.
Yeah. If we already have a secured area in front of the toilets to the judge's door, and we have a secured door to the jury room, couldn't we eliminate that wall?
No. This right here is gonna be a real heavy-duty wall. That's
For sound.
for sound. And that's a sound barrier wall if you eliminate this. So this becomes the sound lock to the jury room. In federal, this has to be an SDC of 70. And I've given this a 70 between the attorneys and the jury, but I just left this I mean, it's a good wall, 2 layers of sheetrock on either side of it.
You gotta remember, they'll send the jurors to the juror room, and then they'll have discussions that can't be heard in there during a trial.
No, I know that.
Yeah, okay.
But
If we've
is
already got
is this
through-
room gonna be occupied while this room?
Yes.
Then maybe we need to bump up this wall to 70.
One thing you'll notice is these walls have the exact wall construction built into them now.
Yeah.
So concrete block, 3 5/8 mill stud, gypboard, everything is actually shown in the Revit file. So these are actual dimensions, and that's why it was so
Sure.
important once we get on the
Yeah,
computer.
right
So
now.
we have left for space.
The way these have been drawn, and the way they put them in, there's 2 layers of 5/8 inch on either side of a 35-inch stud wall filled with sound bath.
That one's spread out on the courtroom side too.
No, that's the 2.5 inch of absorbing.
Oh, okay.
So the whole room, in addition to that sound wall, we're gonna have
Both
acoustic
courtrooms
material.
have that.
Yep. But this one, we may want to thicken this wall up and do the same as that. That's the federal level of it. I had it that way and I changed it thinking, oh, this is overkill. And I'm glad we're talking about it. So we'll beef this wall up to here. Actually, if we just beefed it up to here, if we did that,
Right.
then this can be the same as in the courtroom.
Yeah.
So this will be a 70 here too then. And a 70.
Yeah, this one, I'm not as concerned with this one.
Well, just as long as
Yeah.
the door's gonna be the weakest spot.
Right.
Okay, and then in your law library, we need to put probably a copy bar here, so there may be a sink and some millwork along one wall and then shelves above. I don't know, there has to be a copy bar in there.
Like,
Or at least that was in the program.
for the law library?
The law library was gonna be kind of
It's used as kind of a conference room for attorneys, and it's kind of where they wait for their proceedings a lot of times. Again, that's more of a county bar question, what they want. It's not
Well,
really
the
our
coffee bar
deal.
was in the program, but if you don't
Yeah.
think it's in there,
Well, I think that's something to,
otherwise it just becomes a
the attorneys
conference
can
room.
decide if they want.
Now, how many books?
If you do that, would it be beneficial to put this one back somewhere on some of our
Yeah,
walls?
yeah, we
So
could
that-
do these back to that.
If you give them coffee, they won't leave.
Then they'll be over here getting coffee.
Somebody's gotta clean the pot and let
They're
everybody
over here,
get
they're
a
over here
coffee bar.
bugging these people
Yeah,
or
whose
these
job is
people
that
if they
now?
don't have their own space is the problem.
Yeah. Because they're not gonna do it.
If you have a county bar, then you're gonna want a wet bar.
Okay, so in the meeting notes, let's say that the court is gonna determine if there's gonna be a
Lockable
copy
mini
bar
fridge.
and the attorney. So then you guys can follow up.
I think the attorneys are like that.
Well,
It's good to have them, for that space for them to go, so they're not milling over here bugging these people and.
right.
Now, what else, are there gonna be a lot of books in there?
All the books are in there,
Well,
right?
I know, we don't know what the volume is or how much.
It depends on how much they
If
want
it's
to
10
move back
million
in
feet
there.
or 200.
You get rid of quite a few books, but there's still quite a few books to move back in.
Well, that, if you could, I could come over and work with you on that, or you could just give me the lineal shelter,
If you can just tell us lineal feet.
then we can take care of that.
Now they're all in boxes.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now.
The way books work is, any shelf that you got will end up getting filled up.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we won't be.
so all the books are gonna be out here, there's not gonna be anything in attorney?
Because our judges are all using
Judges.
electronic research
Okay.
now, so it's more, again, that's more for the county bar.
Okay, so this works pretty well for you then.
So do you need access for a computer in the library? For
Yes,
research?
they're gonna want probably some kind of public access in there as well.
So a computer station.
Would be nice.
Or at
Because
least
because if they're in court and the judge tells them to file something.
Or if we
electronically,
had a
they'll go
table
there
here.
and they'll file it.
Would they bring their own computer in, or would they, do you want a monitor there like you have over here?
We've been setting up, did they plan for that when they came, the ISIS people recently? For
Because-
Well, we
the
were in
attorneys?
Because we could do the same thing here as we have in the
So, no, I
courtroom.
don't think
They could
did.
bring their laptops in and plug in.
They could, but if they have a document that they've, need to file,
Ideally, you'd have a printer and a computer station here,
Right,
so they could
right.
bring it.
and we would provide that, computer and a scanner, to file electronically.
Because we didn't talk about that at all.
Yeah, they've been doing that in locations where there's
Could-
room for it.
Could we, why don't you think about this, Ron? And then maybe we have a telephone conversation and I can update the program. Because this was kind of, there's a lot of things that you can do here that you don't have, you should be thinking about. And if you want to have a meeting with the local bar next time we're up here, they can come in.
You get a number of attorneys from out of town, that come over for a service day, they're through the whole day. So they can't run back their office and files, they're gonna be paying files all year.
Yeah, a lot more Charles City
We're
attorneys.
trying to
Right,
maintain.
that's why I think would be nice to have. I mean, certainly they could use
We are
this,
talking
but
about.
if they got their
Maybe
own,
putting
they would
glass
prefer
in there.
that.
Don't put it up, because as you're looking at it from this stretch.
Okay, one thing we didn't talk about, is these rooms are about 100 square feet, they're plenty, and these are ADA.
Where do you think of
Typically, when you go 3 stories, it has to be a rated condition. And we'll look at it when we put our sprinklers in.
9.5,
But if we have 1 hour restriction
12,
with sprinklers, then we can.
which is probably about the same size as this area right here. So it's a reasonable.
Yeah.
Is that basically what you're gonna want in there?
Yeah, right.
Okay, now let's go back to the final area.
Maybe round tables.
Yeah, I would say that.
Round is better.
Like in that case.
Is this gonna be a new table, or is this gonna be something reused?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
What do you want for a table in the law library?
This is what was drawn in, I mean,
yeah.
does that work?
Mhm.
Okay, now, we measured, last time I was over there, we measured this furniture, and it is a little bit bigger than what you've got. And we talked with the judge, and the judge wanted to have the clerk facing the door and separated, and, yeah. And
I
so.
kinda like that though, because this, for the court tenant, that'll
This
work out
will,
well.
yeah, and that chair could just be tucked back that person's only there one day a week or something.
Just, if that, just when there's jury trials. maybe.
So this becomes that 4-foot station that she has right now.
Yep.
And those are the 2 workstations, and then you get 2 filing cabinets for presiding judges. Clerk. And then the visiting and
I
the
would-
magistrate.
Yeah, the visiting, you think they're gonna wanna exit their own, or into there too?
I think they want to use their own door.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't think they'd wanna come in this
I
way?
don't know.
We talked to them last time and they agreed that they liked that.
Okay.
So
Is
that's,
this, was this a visiting clerk?
It wouldn't be a visiting reporter, yeah.
Well, then they'd be sharing this, so that's the way, this is the way we taught, this is the way it was originally set
they,
up.
once we explained it to them, they liked it.
Yeah.
Okay.
This wall, I'm assuming that this is, because this is a real secure area, it's gonna be very quiet. Just using a standard stud wall would sound bad. It's gonna give you about a 50,
I think that's fine there.
Won't be quite that high.
45.
42 is pretty standard.
There you go. We could, add-
Yeah,
we
it's
could beef that
kinda
up, we could beef that up, but I don't know if it's
I
necessary.
think that's fine.
It's gonna have a factor with the door. Doors are always in the range of about 28 to 30.
It's nice that
Yeah.
it's not in the hallway.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll help out.
right.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Once
help
you
a
get the
lot.
continuous seal of the wall, floor and ceiling.
And before, I was a little concerned about this, but nobody else seen the magistrate is down 6 inches, so the magistrate comes up and, which is fine.
That'd be all right.
And this is a nice relationship here. So, Judges all there, so I think it's gonna,
Okay.
Looks good.
Now, I'm gonna plan-
So we'll talk about that one.
Yeah.
Just leave
So
there.
I shoot you an email,
Okay.
give you a chance
Through
to
these.
talk to some judges and
Okay.
maybe talk to the local bar.
Why don't you do this, talk with some judges,
Come talk to some judges.
and
I'll
then
talk
just
to
shoot me an email and say,
some
what
attorneys
time's
here.
not
You know what
supposed to
to
talk,
do.
we can get on the phone.
What?
You want
You
one?
go ahead.
Okay.
You're more in the middle.
This is the court president, you know.
That's actually the projection screen. Mhm. And so if you subdivide, you'd have an opportunity to have a screen on this one and one on this one. Otherwise, this will be your primary.
Unless you want it on the side.
Should that be behind us or should it be over here?
Well, if you have it over here, then the people out in the viewing may not be able to see
Okay,
it.
we want some windows in here.
I like that.
Can somebody shoot me this?
I think we can update this.
Okay, we'll see how big a window we can
Well,
get.
here, you want one?
I wonder if they'll show this to the lawyers and just see.
Because that's the whole reason why we raised the damn thing out of the ground to begin with. And if we have no windows, I'm gonna be pissed.
Stan wants another escape route.
That's one thing we didn't talk about here, a lot of times if you wanted a second
We can give you a door right
exit.
into that stairwell.
In case somebody.
No, they want it right into the
in
sheriff's
here,
office
and
for
they don't wanna
me.
see it, they wanna be able to
We
scoot
can
out.
get from that table right to the
That's not enough
stairwell
time.
and here out of the building.
There's our safe room right here.
I don't think they want a door in the hallway.
I agree.
Oh,
I-
So one of
personally,
the
I
things
think
you're,
that,
you're gonna see is that we've
I
got
would.
this separated from the other side like we had before. And so when they come down from the elevator,
Oh, you wanna have another
yeah, I
door?
think a spot right out front.
Personally,
where
I
they
would.
come in,
No, that's
and
what
come
I,
in and be
on a
here.
federal law, we typically do.
If somebody's waiting for you,
Or you have a separate.
they'll wait out here
so
unless
that
you,
in case there's
unless you're there and then they
somebody
can come
coming in
on.
here.
So we've got 3 spots for you
You
here.
can scoot out and be gone.
Got a toilet right off the side.
With the urinal here.
You want a urinal?
You
Yes.
get, yeah, you get this one right into the.
It won't be on the outside wall.
Stair.
Well,
But
whatever,
what
wherever
we
it
can
is.
do is we can.
It's gonna be trade-off, you're gonna
This
get a little
wall
more
and
noise,
this over
but
here.
Doesn't matter.
But they should
So
be
it's
done
there
with
somewhere.
going up
Yeah.
that
Oh,
way.
yeah.
Why don't you talk to the judges?
This is
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't at all.
Plus 6 cents.
Neither one of these are.
Mhm.
So it'd just be the resident.
Well, you and
Yeah.
both be in the same.
But you could do this, right into that staircase.
The kitchenette is simply an under-counter refrigerator and a bar sink, so that they have access.
Garage door.
Back counter for laying out
So it'd be-
documents
it'd
and
just be a
things.
regular door.
Plus, you'll
Fire
have your
door.
tables up front and a podium if anybody
And
wants.
those are movable, right?
Those are all movable.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
may affect
We come over
the
to-
furniture arrangement.
We need the elevator equipment room for the elevator, of course. And the economic development now has the 2 offices. I like the size too. Come back into the supervisor's office and through, or come out to the courtroom.
No, she's gonna like that second, if there's somebody out here that she
Yeah.
doesn't really wanna see, and she
Yeah,
wants to
plus,
come in here.
plus we've added here and here.
So these
Second doors
36
seem to be
inch
popular in
wide
county offices.
These are
That's why I said
77.
second escape route.
Second round.
But then you're getting
Well, you guys
plus
have 2 doors.
plus under here, plus under here, plus there.
All
right? And then we put venting out front. We might get rid of that wall, just to kind of open it up a little bit.
Yeah, right, there's no sense in it.
Yeah. So I think that'd be fine.
Which wall?
That one right there.
Oh,
And then, of course, our bathrooms, we've got the women in the back, so that the men would never be able to see in, that kind of thing. And then the break room is still over here.
those are the public restrooms.
Those are the public ones, so they're just a hop and a skip from the boardroom. I shouldn't say it that way, they're only a few steps, no skipping allowed.
That's right.
Safety violations. We talked with Barb about a few things here.
Well.
We changed the things around a little bit, not too much. P and Z still has their dedicated area. And as we come through, at one point, we were looking at file cabinets here, but that's getting up a little bit, so those moved back to here. And we talked about storage underneath that she'll have on top of this work counter. And then we opened this up and put her plotter right here. On her layout table with cabinets
The
above
truth
for the
is,
different supplies
you
and
got a
also to lay the
man
plots
right
out.
there.
So it can be shared by
I don't know.
both sides.
Is this?
So that made it kind of out of the way for noise. It made it
It's not. The
accessible
only
from
thing
both
is,
sides,
like
even
you
if
said
there's somebody
before,
else that
sometimes
comes
I will just have
in
one
as
person
a
in the
19 person
office.
separate from
So
the
it makes it
apartment.
nice.
go.
Yeah,
So,
if your office is
and
open,
she
then
liked the way this was
you
laid
go
out.
and then come back,
And the
you
only
know,
thing that we
Don't just shut the shutter down.
specifically clarified is that there is a wire mold still all the way around.
I know, it,
Outlets every
yeah.
12.
Well,
I
think
know.
about that, because that could be a really nice.
Storage space.
And that has
I
computer
know,
and electrical.
I was in-
or
Absolutely,
Plus the courthouse.
yeah.
Shut
And
it off.
IT, yeah.
she wanted her server closet to
I
be a
think
little
I
bit
can
bigger.
just 3 people standing
And
there.
it wasn't necessarily because of what she has now as much as what she's expecting. And the coordination with everything going up above. So we made it a little bit bigger. And then the storage that we originally had here, she said she wouldn't need that. Anything that she would have, she could put under the cabinets. And she could have a spot back here with her bullion storage. So that worked out really well. So we got that one cleaned up and tightened up a little bit. And we got more storage back here for shelving units. And then in the back, it's really a wide open area.
Thank
If
you.
you have any,
We'll have
anything, shoot it off
mesh
together and-
panels that'll be lockable depending upon how you want to arrange them.
Yeah, I think everybody should have their own key to their own storage instead of.
Absolutely. We left the large door for moving large pieces in and out into the elevator. We can get by with one big door as opposed to two.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But it seemed to make sense to give them a pair of doors here.
Moving in and out.
So that's pretty open. And as we go into the design development part, we'll actually narrow down how much space you want to give each department. And that'll help us set those locations of the posts and the gates. Pretty straightforward so far for storage. The maintenance guys, once we figure out, and get our mechanical, electrical guys on board, we'll figure out how much space we're gonna need for all the equipment. We got a pretty good idea right now that it'll be in this area. And then Dave's desk and work counter will be back in here. One section's gonna be lower, so he can have his computer there if he needs a computer. And then we'll have all our electrical panels here feeding directly outside. The condensing units will sit outside. So we've got the clearance in there for panels on both walls, if we need a transformer.
Just thinking he's kind of in a corner, but I guess he can get right up here.
Oh, absolutely. Plus, he's gonna be able to come from
through
up
here,
above.
or-
When he comes in from the receiving, he'll come down the elevator and go right
Sure.
in. Plus, they'll have the ability to go straight out into the corridor if he's taking care of the public toilets or whether he's got multiple avenues now. But if he's pushing a cart, he'll probably more than likely come through here. Okay. So that seemed pretty straightforward. The only final thing that Barb asked for, she wants an underground set of cabling. She wants to be able to come back to this server closet and connect fiber optics, 911, the GIS.
From
every-
outside?
It's actually gonna go outside and connect to the LEC and the community services
Sure.
building. And so I told her the best avenue is gonna be between the buildings as we come down and come over to the community services
Mhm.
building. So that's another reason we wanna get our survey going, see where all the utilities are.
I got a question. Are these are just the wired
Yeah.
storage?
Mhm.
Shouldn't we have block all the way around here so that whole area is fireproof?
Yeah, we haven't got that part. We can get fireproofing with the stud walls, that's
Well,
not a
these,
problem.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know
make it
what these
secure
walls are
too.
made out of.
Right
Well,
now,
if these
if
We don't know if the mechanical room's gonna need a wall yet. We haven't completed
Be
the.
this year.
Oh, okay.
part of what we're looking at as we get into this next part where we define all the systems, we're looking at structural.
I know if the court's
And as we're
storing
looking
stuff
at
in there,
what
they'd
the
want
floor
it to
material is gonna be
block.
between here and the next floor and the courtrooms. We know the courtroom has to be a rated structure, so it's probably gonna be the concrete. And then when we look at how we support all that, we either look at columns or bearing walls. Obviously, if we can do it with columns, it's gonna be a lot easier as far as getting it assembled and getting everything erected.
Gives you more flexibility in the future too.
Yeah, it's easier to work around a column rather than,
If then you don't end up
Solid.
with a beam.
we do end up with a beam.
Yeah.
And right now, we're looking at a supporting structure that's probably gonna go this way. And then there might be a beam that comes back and ties into the shaft, so then it would span this direction. What we look at then is how do the ducts traverse? If the beams wanna go this way, we have a situation, we can put it through here, and through here, and through here. And that would be above the ceiling, of course, in the boardroom. So then we get shorter spans, and if we can get them to be similar lengths, you get the economy of that.
This is probably gonna set up your base right there.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Actually, it's probably not gonna be
Probably just one side.
it's not gonna be the courtrooms that define it, it'll be everything else below it.
It'll be the court. I don't think,
Okay.
I don't think you're gonna have a column coming up through the courtroom, so it's probably gonna be set by where the courtroom's set.
So once we define the structural system, then we'll start refining the wall types. And we've already started a preliminary code review. Gary's been working on that back at the office. And what we wanna do is we wanna make sure that we maintain all our egress ways and get the life safety in place. We start looking at where the sprinkler's gonna be coming in, where the ducts are gonna be coming through, and we start looking at basic sizes, and that helps us tweak our structure, okay? So we're starting there, but we haven't got to that point yet, because we haven't got it defined yet. And doing, one thing we are gonna have back in here is there's gonna be a dedicated shaft that goes all 3 floors to serve IT, fiber, and all
Oh,
that.
sure.
Okay?
Yeah, and that's right there, the servers there, so that
Mhm.
can be up
Absolutely.
right there.
So you guys okay with that one?
Same thing, Steve?
I'm pretty well situated, you know, Dan got a urinal in the windows, and I think that was about the only,
I don't know, like this wall here, does that really need that, or? I mean, I don't know, I'm
No,
just,
which one?
this by the kitchen thing.
No, we don't need that tile. I thought we were taking that out before.
I thought so, I thought too, I thought we
Yeah.
talked about that before, just leave that.
Be nice to leave the
A little
2 foot
bit.
of wall
Right,
to the cabinets.
right.
today.
yeah,
Yep.
just a shorter wall.
And the only other thing I would question right now is, let's just leave all of this open and see if those people can work together, and if they can't, we can always put the wire, I mean, that's not gonna be a big deal to come in later.
What people are we talking about?
Well, you have home health, they have a certain spot, right?
Yep.
That's one thing that we want them to do is provide them storage, because right now they're renting storage.
Right.
So why do that? I guess what I have to ask Lamont or whoever.
Yeah, it probably won't be very big, but they could use some storage.
But I
We can,
mean,
we can,
but I mean, if there's nothing that they really have to have secured,
Right.
why have the wire? That's
if
my.
it's a hospital bed, we ain't gonna worry about it.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
that's the type of thing.
Unless we don't want somebody sleeping in it. Yep, we can worry about
Because that can be at the very end, I mean, we can always add, that's not gonna be a big cost thing or whatever, and
Okay.
other than that, I don't really see any,
The thing I was thinking about this IT office, and I'm trying to figure out, are we gonna need are we looking at an IT person?
I'll
What's
bet
your
you're gonna
feeling?
need at some point in time a part-time.
A few years down the road?
I don't know that's gonna be that far, I mean, you
Well,
gotta,
we've talked about it before.
I mean,
just
we've got we should have a webpage, we should have, I mean, our weekly minutes should be posted,
Is
so on and so forth. I mean, are these things that Barb is doing now that,
She's,
Is
Doesn't
that
have time
IT
to
person
do it.
gonna be responsible for the court's IT too? Because there may be a lot of setting up, teaching attorneys, there may be a.
Oh, that's a good idea.
The IT person will be for the whole building.
Okay. Nope, that's fine, I just was asking.
Okay.
Where's,
This
where's Barb gonna be sitting?
This would be
Oh,
our
okay,
office
this is
over
your
here.
office over here, okay.
And I talked to her about a window, she's still thinking about a window.
Mhm.
So she
If
can
you
see
do one
me.
there, I'd do one there. I like that one.
Mhm.
But then I suppose that's another set of blinds. You know,
Yeah.
Tape your picture
Windows are always
notices on
okay.
there.
yeah. Oh, I forgot to bring that.
Well, even
I
like,
had the tape on that call here, I forgot.
so even here- like here on this door, should there be a window in this door that people don't have to open it to see if you're in there and that they can,
Well, then we gotta go back to that same deal. Remember, if open meetings, I mean, we can't really have doors that are closed, can we?
Well, this isn't our meeting room,
Office?
really, I mean, this is.
That's the office. These would probably be open most of the time.
yeah, I would think we would have these plugged open, like you say,
But then on the other hand, if you had some other meeting
Yeah.
going on there, you
yeah, you just pull that.
Yeah.
Building, is there window wells or?
Yeah, we just have.
Yeah, we can talk about that, and we can do the door
We just have
schedule.
to show
Absolutely.
no time for that.
Absolutely, we'll go through this
Okay.
multiple times,
Assume-
once we'll go through just to see where you want all your
You've
computers
been
and all your
out
outlets and
50
things
too
like
long.
that.
You didn't have time to
We'll
get
go
there.
through once and we start looking at lights, and we'll go through once and we start looking at, just, again, the furniture, visiting that again. So, yeah, we'll be going through this again.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, we wanna make sure we've captured everything from the last couple of discussions, so we can really jump into the
We
design.
wanna make sure the wall's in the right place, so our engineers can start looking at structure, and then the mechanical, they need volumes of rooms to start doing their calculations on systems.
That's when we'll start looking at all the bearing walls.
The old boys uptown this morning, they wondered why we were having a pizza office.
Pizza.
Are they gonna have a window in
Well,
here?
pizza
for
getting pretty
P&G?
important.
Yeah, because we haven't got the grades set, we don't know how
Okay,
high out of the
okay,
ground yet.
sure.
I mean, I'll go ahead and do them.
Yeah, I just a question.
Yeah, we just
That's
didn't
maybe
have
on
time to
that
put
side.
them in yet.
Sure.
Yeah, I know too, that they'd like a window in the break room, they,
We probably won't have one in the toilet.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I'll
well,
just-
that's why we have the cameras. No.
Yeah. Would you turn to the camera and say that?
You want windows in the supervisor's office?
Yeah, we did.
Definitely,
Thought so.
that's why we're raising the whole building.
Well, he wrote down boardroom, he didn't write down supervisor's office.
Oh,
That's
but
why
it
I
got- I'm
asked.
sorry.
No, I don't care if they're there. You can't put them there, that's how you ain't gonna get into the. how you
Well,
gonna
we're
get
gonna
into
have
the
to
house.
figure out something.
I don't care if there's a window.
Oh, no.
You could do it on the
The
side.
fact that you want a window
You do
will
it
work,
on the side.
that's what we're gonna do now.
Well, that's under that porch.
Might look,
Mhm.
might just be brick on the other side, but you'll get a window.
We'll get something.
This is the main one, don't you think?
Yeah, that's
Let me
more
give you a
important
light
than the,
tube,
Oh, yeah.
bring in some
Those are
natural
nice.
light. They actually are pretty nice.
Yeah.
Pretty well.
We use them down in Norway.
Okay, well,
you
work
ready
on
for
it.
the first floor people?
I would say, I'm happy with this.
Yeah,
I
I'm,
think you guys.
you know, if everybody
nailed
else
it.
is happy down here, I am, so.
You know, and I think-
Barb's happy now.
Yeah, well, that, you
That's a
know,
very important.
she's our kingpin here.
What I did with her is I actually linked up with her on the computer, so I was
Hello,
showing her
Mr.
the
Wong.
things, I was doing things around it, which worked out really well because it wasn't, well, look over here and you see the thing that looks like a chair. She could actually see me pointing to it. I asked her if she wanted to take control, she goes, no, you just keep doing what you're doing. But I can do the same thing with you guys, I can just set up a WebEx basically, or a
Just
GoToMeeting.
Lowell's coming in, right? We're gonna go around each.
We're gonna go around everybody after this.
Don't let them run off of my curved wall, or our curved wall, because we got ideas what we wanna use that for, you know, and,
We should talk about that right now, actually.
well, we wanna do displays,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
historical or.
I think I emailed you a little
Yeah.
bit of that,
And
Kevin.
I
And
showed it,
we need room for
again,
that.
Christie didn't have time to put them in here, but what we were talking about was display
Okay.
cases here,
All right, yep,
here,
How about back here?
here, to start.
right.
The more formal stuff, we also need directional signage, obviously, so that you know, okay, we're gonna go this way for reporter, or this way.
I think this is a wonderful wall, as people are going up and down the elevator. I'll come out and see everything right here.
One question we had, as Christie and I were laying this out, was, we started laying out display cases across here too, right across from the elevator, we thought, we should leave this open, because someday you might have to provide security at the entrance of the building.
Mhm.
And we
Well,
don't wanna
these
build
could
in
be
a
just-
bunch of stuff.
Those could just be something on the wall,
Mhm.
along here. But on that second floor, up in that waiting area, there would be a good place, I think, for some
It's just
display.
is that-
cases.
Oh, sure.
Is
out
that
front of the
allowed?
courtroom.
Did I
Something
email you
like
that
that?
about the center?
Is that allowed?
What, opening?
Did I send
Where
that?
you,
Cases, display.
oh, display, oh, yeah.
Okay.
See, this,
That'd be nice.
Senator Johans is gonna
It could be.
retire, and he's
So
gonna
you could put them
donate
here,
his,
Oh, yeah.
one there.
And there's other things too that, you
I
know,
put
around the
benches
county,
there.
and I think.
It could be, it could be,
We have
it could be even
seats.
a free floating thing, you know, like a,
Could be, but it'd be nice to
We
trim
could
something
give them
into
some
the building.
freestanding ones up on the top.
actually, right
as
here,
people are
here would
waiting.
be nice.
Well, next time you come back, then we go down and talk to them, ask them if they'd be interested in something like that, maybe they'd like to have something. They've got 2 or 3 stories down there now, and they don't have room to display everything.
What are they gonna be displaying?
Is he going
That I
together?
don't.
Senator
I thought we were gonna
Johans
come
is
visit everybody.
That's what he
He's
told
from
me, and then
Osage,
Stan
a
said, come down
1968
here, I'm
graduate. And
frustrated
he
because
was,
nobody knows
We
what's
were just
going
gonna
on.
blow come down, we were gonna go talk to everybody else.
That's what I was
We'll,
told.
we'll come down and talk to you.
Yeah, we'll come down.
You guys can keep going with what you're doing for the day, and we'll come
Okay.
find you and.
Thank
We'll come
you.
find
Stan
you.
just told me to come
Yeah.
down, but I should
Yeah,
go
he
back.
was-
Okay.
he
Yeah.
understands.
Oh, okay, so we'll just wait. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you.
send
He
Lowell
wasn't
down.
listening.
He has stuff to do. We don't want
This treasurer's office here, that's the one we need to tweak. Not treasurer, yeah, no.
You changed
Auditor,
your
where are we
orders.
here? I'm on the wrong end of the planet.
Oh, turned around again?
Yeah, these auditors things. They're
Yeah, I
all
guess I-
facing the wrong direction, they need to face the counter,
Yeah, they do.
and I don't know how to do that, I thought maybe if we could squish that back a little and make this counter a little longer and pivot them.
Yeah.
Then I was thinking about putting Lowell's office somewhere else,
I would,
flipping them, but then he can't get his windows, so.
I would let Lowell worry about it. If we
Yeah,
start,
yeah, I mean,
if we
we
start
start worried about it, but,
talking
Yeah.
about any of this on the first
Kind of
floor,
with you,
we're gonna
but
catch hell to
start
who
with-
laid the rail.
no, I've already heard from the treasurers that they need to face the counter.
Yeah. And there's ours, aren't they?
Auditors, rather, yeah, the I'm sorry, I misspoke.
What you,
The auditors.
what you wanna be able to do is, something like that.
Yeah, that needs,
So,
that needs to need
We
two
can
of
change the counters around.
As soon as we gave them exterior windows, it changed everything.
them. I know, they wanted windows and they wanna face the counter, so it does change things, and I didn't know.
We can do that.
If-
My thought is too, that if this, you can almost cut that down and line that wall up with this wall.
If we
had
eliminated
to.
the back corridor,
This whole thing here,
no,
this here,
if we eliminated that, we could slide this down and squeeze that over. There's some way to
But Lowell's office over here.
basically, no, just basically,
We never had
what
windows
veterans
in the
in here.
apartment.
This width doesn't need to be there. So veterans could be there and you'd have room for 2 up here and the third one back behind and still have the windows. It comes down to this corridor.
Yeah, I was
Does
wondering
he
about
need it
that.
or not?
Do you need that?
Well, one of the things Lowell
It's kinda
asked,
nice, though. but-
well, what he asked for was a second layout.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
really
know,
nice to
it's-
have.
And we talked about, this would be where they'd have their copy and their copier and their coat rack and kind of out of the way of everything
Yeah,
else.
this would be like an employees only entrance, maybe,
probably.
most likely. 'cause
Or
I-
exit.
I don't
Oh,
like
yeah.
people
Because
walking
you
in
want the
behind
Oh,
you.
yeah.
public, you'd want the public to
Mhm.
come.
That's an exit only.
Actually, what would be really nice is if you came, if the public could come in and see what was going on back here, if that was glass, and if this was glass.
This is Veterans Affairs.
No, but I mean, if that just moved over like
Yeah,
Kevin
yeah,
was
yeah.
saying.
That's the way it was originally.
Mhm. It was glass before.
Yeah, I think that would be, it'd make it'd feel a lot better when the public came in, they'd be more welcomed. Otherwise, it looks like they're trying to find where they're going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
6 foot.
Yep. 6 foot.
Okay, that hallway out there's 8 foot. So if you don't have this, step out there and take 2 foot off and then take a look to the north and that's what you're gonna see.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
if you didn't,
yeah,
we'd have
I-
to make it wider if you.
yeah, this is kinda,
You gotta almost have that. I mean,
I didn't think it was necessary at first, but I think it's a kind of a
yeah,
little better feel of a,
I mean, that's 105 feet tall when you'd be looking
oh,
down.
yeah, yeah, that's a lot of tunnel. Yeah, I don't know, and then, and it's Lowell's office, but I was just trying to, and I thought him being way back here up to the counter too, and I thought maybe if you, but then if you put his office up here, you don't get any window. And if you put him over here, or if you slide this down and put him up here,
And then, in the walls, is that, are we thinking, new equipment? We're not thinking of using the old stuff, are we?
Right. New shelving,
Yeah,
oh yeah.
I was gonna say the old stuff.
old
right?
file cabinets, new shelving.
And does that vault need to be that big? How big were the vaults in the old courthouse?
400 by
300 square feet?
12 by 25.
Pretty close.
Really? They were that big?
Maybe 11.8.
They didn't look that big because they had all the shelves in, you know, and you walk in there, you felt like you were in
Well,
But the truth is, it's, you could be a lot more efficient than the way they were storing stuff.
Oh,
It's
definitely.
1870s,
Yeah,
like
that was a-
technology.
Very inefficient.
That was, you know,
And we hope to be
150 years of making do.
explorers, 10
Yeah,
seniors.
it just,
Are you
you
thinking?
you could, I think what the court was
Yeah, I
saying
think we
is
used to do
taking
10-foot ceilings on
their,
the first floor.
their boxes that were stored there and just put
Basement,
them on.
basement
side
9, 10,
shelves.
and then whatever?
And not,
I don't
and
know,
using
I
that
guess I don't know
same
what-
I think we had
trifold, you know,
9,
the
10, and
trifold.
12.
9, 10, and 12. Okay.
We've already built the model
Yeah, all right.
with those with those.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, 9, 10, and 12. Remember
We should
that.
have
Basement,
that.
height, ceiling heights 9, this 10, and then the courtroom's 12 foot.
9, 10, 12?
Yeah,
Makes sense to me.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a
As
good,
long as 9 is high enough for the
Boardroom.
county boardroom.
maybe that could be.
Is that a 12-foot clear? Of course, we have a roof structure up
Those
there.
are
We
ceiling,
can,
those are ceiling.
we can probably go up a little higher.
We'll have 3 feet of interstitial space.
Above that? Okay.
Is 12 not high enough for up there?
Well, if we had
Oh,
a
so
12-foot
Ceiling.
ceiling height, yes. But if we had 12 feet and then came down 3 feet, that's.
Oh, no,
Those
no,
are
no.
ceiling.
12-foot
Yeah.
ceiling is
When you say that, I mean inside dimension.
Yeah, in fact, from that 12, we could probably go up and do a light code in the center of the courtroom to get a little more height,
before you go down.
or you go down.
I don't know if we should go much farther without Lowell.
Yeah.
No, I'm waiting for it. I thought
His
Stan was
first
getting ready to.
No, they're going down to see him, aren't you?
We'll go down and see them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll go with you.
Okay.
I thought Lowell was coming down here.
Oh, maybe he is.
I don't know.
What's his
That's
number?
Stan.
Would it be better to have them come down and get out of their work environment? No.
We're gonna sit with each one of them individually, so the others aren't.
We went through that last time.
They
And a couple-
came down there
and
and-
a couple of emails, and it was best if we went up there.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been through the ringer already, Ray, we're not gonna do that.
Okay, I'll go down there with
Kevin,
you.
this was yours right here, right? Yeah.
What's that? Oh.
Well, Ray, you must have marked on yours.
Yeah, I do.
We need to get a copy of that.
I don't know.
Hey, Dylan, Mark, and
This
Ron
means
copy
something to
that.
me, it may
I
not
got
mean
notes.
anything to you. I could do
I
an
got
overlay
notes
real
on
quick.
everything.
Sure. I've got notes too, Kevin, I'll give them to you for it.
Okay.
Actually, I don't think they need this bathroom, I really don't. That's a big expense.
They want it though, and I can see the need, I mean, this department, they're gonna walk all the way down here.
Yeah, I would leave it in there.
If you only get one person there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
very inconvenient.
That was brought up last time too.
Yeah, it was.
One there, that-
They don't want to leave the department.
Right, it's a long ways to go. All right.
Is it in there?
Oh, okay, gun, thanks.
There's all this stuff in here. Thing is still running.
I may do an overlay on here. I don't quite understand either. Part of this came from down here, you have to try to go to. It would be easier to get them out of their work environment. Well, and you have a table here, there's no damn table in most of their offices. Yeah. Of course, that was a little test you did. So where are they going? Which office?
I think they're going way far north and west.
Okay.
They liked it better when they went down to their office.
Trying to have these guys all set, This is what I gotta say.
Probably turn that thing off, can't I? I don't really know what to say here.
No,
Should we take it to her? Then we'll take it apart.
well, if this is a
Huh?
door, that means you gotta be carried out with that.
Take,